All right, guys, top of the morning, coming to you live and direct from my dining room table because I wanted to switch some things up today, but feeling super, tired and sore just because I'm on day 68 of 75 Day Hard. And I just want to share this briefly with everybody. Your body needs a rest, all right? When you do 75 Day Hard, there's no room for rest because you have to do 2 workouts a day. And so my workouts seem a little bit longer. 45 minutes is just taking a little bit longer, it feels like. And so we're done in a few days and I'm ready just to take a day off, let my body chill, but then get into some other type of challenge. So I want to lean to you guys if you are, if you're aware of any type of challenges that you guys want to send to me, hit me with. I'm open to that because I know I'm going to rest for a couple days, but then after that, I want to do something else. And so I am open to your guys' suggestions. So feeling a little tired, but here we go. I'm excited to be here. Let's go ahead and get right into the conversation for the day. I'm going to have somebody bring us out on the field as we always do, truly keeping it moving toward our life, our dreams, our goals, and our vision. And so I am going to turn it over to who do I have on today that I want to call on that maybe I haven't called on in the past. Let's see. Actually, I have called on this person, but I'm going to have Christina bring us out on the field because I really enjoy when you bring us out on the field. So Christina, let's have you bring us out on the field on this beautiful Friday morning. Share your thoughts, sentiment, and let's go ahead and hit them.
Good morning, everybody. Well, Elias, I got my lashes done yesterday, so here I am on camera. But want to tell you guys, happy Friday. Set your intentions of what you want to do this weekend. Do you want to do an open house? When you go to the open house, what do you want to accomplish? So I have homebuyer consult tomorrow, so I'm already thinking what do I want to do first half of the morning? What do I want to accomplish on that consult? So set your intentions and yeah, kick ass.
I love that. I love that. So kick ass, set your intentions for the weekend. By show of hands, how many people have a open house schedule for this weekend? Please just raise your hand or give me an emoji. All right, cool. It's going to be a busy weekend, really busy weekend. So here's what I want to do is I first off want to go to a couple of people and just hear some of your wins and your challenges. And then we're going to get right into the conversation for today. So who wants to share any of their wins and any of their challenges that they faced this week? Erica, hopefully you throw your hand up. I know you had some wins this week, some things that are working in your favor. So who wants to go first? Let's get our hands up and we'll get right in this conversation. So let's go Erica first. Are you sharing wins or challenges or a little bit of both?
All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's good to see the sun. One of my accomplishes this week was that I submitted my first offer on a home for my client, and a challenge that also goes into it. She backed out on the counter offer because the numbers weren't not matching the numbers that she had in mind. And the interest rates went up. So that kind of like scared her a little bit, but it's all good. It's okay. You know, I got my first offer in. That made me very happy that I accomplished that. And we're going to go home touring this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to take her out, go see all the homes that she loves. Hopefully we can submit another offer and then get the ball rolling and get into contract. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Before you head to Mexico, right?
Yes. Before I head to Mexico. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks and I want to be in at least a contract, something. That's my goal. That is my goal before I leave.
All right, well, here's what's probably going to happen. If it doesn't get submitted prior to going on vacation, what's going to happen is that your phone's going to go off the hook when you're on vacation. It happens all the time. But let me ask you this. When the reason why she backed out was because of interest rates, were you able to negotiate anything from the seller in regards to concessions?
No, the seller was not willing to give any credits. So that's one thing that she countered us on. So we were not able to really negotiate. I think I need definitely some coaching on that. And it was good to get the experience in. It's really a lot of pressure when you're put in that situation. So it's different than, you know, saying something versus doing something. When you're in that position, it's a lot of pressure. So I was feeling the heat, I was feeling it, but my advisor was doing great, being by my side and just like, you know, coaching me to do what I was supposed to do and give the advice that I was supposed to give to my client. And that's where we're at now.
All right. Well, I love it. And I see people raising their hand. And if you guys have any advice, any thoughts for her, let's get in the conversation. Christina, I'll come to you in a moment. Let's go, Jeff. Let's go to me, and then we'll go to Christina. Jeff, what's your thoughts, insight, or contribution on the conversation?
Well, challenge-wise, I mean, for myself, obviously interest rates. But it's interesting with how this kind of played out this week. I mean, they jumped dramatically, but there hasn't been that much panic around it. I mean, of course, it sucks. I mean, there are challenges associated with it, but we've been doing this now for like 2 years, and we've been dealing with this. Everybody has all the tools in their belt, and they're, using those tools. I'm sure, all of the realtors out there, I know as lenders, we're utilizing all the experiences that we've had over the last couple of years. So it's not as big of a panic. Again, it's not, it's not something we wanted to see, but we're just more prepared for it based on the experiences we've had. So I think we could find some of the opportunities in it. And that was some of the first things I heard from the team was the opportunities that exist when rates do this. So looking forward to kind of how how that unfolds and what happens in the market over the coming weeks as we get farther away from some of this data, the jobs report, the CPI report that came out. I think we'll start to pull back a little bit, get a little bit more Fed talk. So but opportunities, good things that have happened. Recruiting standpoint, someone out there. But from a recruiting standpoint, we've had a great week. Been a beautiful week for one, and then been able to talk to lots of people out there. So it's good things going on, good opportunities, but some challenges when it comes to the interest rates. But I think we're all prepared for it and can come up with a good game plan.
All right. So Christina, I'm going to come to you in a second because I saw your contribution in the chat. So Jeff, just for the people that maybe aren't aware of the interest rates as of today, where do interest rates lie right now for a 30-year fixed?
30-year fixed, kind of conventional, decent credit. I mean, honestly, they're back into the low to mid sevens. I mean, we've crossed over that 7% area last week with the jobs report, and then they doubled down on it with the inflation report that came out on Wednesday. So, I mean, you're probably looking at 7.25 to 7.5 on a 30-year fixed right now. So, again, we've been here, so we can handle it, and I think they'll start to pull back a little bit. Maybe we'll get down into the low sevens again as we get a little distance from the news that we've had over the last week and a half.
And Jeff, is it safe to say that all of your pre-approvals have not fallen off of the face of the cliff, right? Does it mean that pre-approvals are still coming in?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still busy. I mean, we're in a better spot now. I mean, the last time rates spiked was October, and that's when they touched even 8. Now, you combine the seasonality of October, November, December with high rates, and it was just tough all the way around. At least now, again, we're more into the buying season. Higher rates offer buyers opportunities because it makes affordability less, but it makes the fewer buyers out there, more potential seller credits. Maybe the sellers are willing to negotiate a little bit more, so it does put buyers in a better situation, at least from the standpoint of their ability to negotiate and less competition on the homes that they're putting in offers.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think that it's a really tricky time for a lot of sellers if they don't have a really good listing agent. A really good listing agent is going to prep and prepare the sellers for the road ahead with a conversation about commissions, with offering concessions, and so on and so forth. There's going to be those really, really stubborn sellers out there. I'm not giving a dime over 3%. And you're going to have those buyer's agents or those listing agents like, fine, I'll take the listing at 3% and let the other end figure it out on their side, right? But I think that really strong listing agents are going to have these conversations about concessions, about seasonality, about compensation, about exposure, about us getting many people into the door as possible. And so I think the conversation needs to be a little bit different with sellers right now because sellers are a little confused, I believe. I know we've talked a lot about buyers over the last couple of weeks, but I believe that sellers are getting a little bit confused as well by the headlines. They're like, oh, I don't need to pay anything. I don't need to negotiate. They have to pay for everything. And so it leaves them at a disadvantage when it comes to, exposure. And so good stuff, Jeff. Let's hear from from Christina. Then we'll go to Damian, then we'll go to Christina, but love your insight, Jeff. Let's go, Christina. I know you put some stuff in the chat. Let's talk about that.
Okay, wasn't sure which Christina. Definitely When you guys are in that, like Erica, when you're in that position, one thing I like to do, and it may be a little aggressive, but I'll tell the listing agent, if they're not willing, the seller's not willing to negotiate, I'm going to say, look, what if I were to get this closed within 12 to 14 days? It's going to save your seller from waiting for another offer to come in, be in escrow for 30 days. They're going to pay another mortgage. So instead, they don't have to pay another mortgage. That money they're saving, now they're just going to give it in the seller credit and we're going to get it done. So definitely, I'm not going to say, I did a reel on this yesterday. I'm not going to say $5,000 is going to put everyone in the same predicament of rates where they were even Monday, Tuesday. But, as lenders, we always give a little bit of, I don't say always, we'll give some lender credit to help with the rate, especially in this market. So you put a lender credit plus $5,000 seller credit, you're going to get pretty close to where rates were right before this big bump. So like in Otis's deal, the client's income went down. She stopped doing as much overtime. And I said, all right, Otis, and we were in escrow. Otis, I need $10,000 seller credit. We did that. We got her into the 5% range on an FHA. And then even later, we needed another seller credit. And we were going to have to cancel. And either, when you have to really lay it out to a seller, it's either you're going to cancel and go back in the market and let's just see what happens on your next offer, or we're almost at the finish line. Let's get a middle ground. So sometimes pushing that listing agent where it could be a little intimidating, you kind of got to push their buttons a little bit to put pressure on their seller, because you don't know really what that listing agent.
Oh, did we lose Christine?
Here we go. Sorry. But sometimes you don't know what that listing agent is really educating that seller. They may just be saying, hey, they're asking for a $5,000 seller credit. Do you want it? You want to give it to or not? No, like you almost have to coach that listing agent a little bit on what to say to that seller to make them think a little bit deeper on this. All right, am I going to let this deal go off $5,000 or they're going to make it happen?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point, because Erica, and we won't stay too long on this, but I'm so glad that you're getting some insight. We have to check the experience level of that listing agent. Maybe that listing agent just knows to be hard-nosed, but doesn't really have any really good communication or negotiation skills. And they're thinking that they're just going to close that door. Well, perhaps there's something there. Perhaps there's a better term that you could have wrote into the contract. Maybe there's some opportunity for negotiations. Maybe you are to play a little bit more hardball, kind of set the stage, give them some things to go back to the seller and communicate. So I love this conversation. Let's go Otis, and then I'll go right over to Demian and then Christina. So Otis, you were able to get more than 10,000. You were able to get 20,000. So talk to us about this action, because it's Action Friday, so it's important that we hear what was the action, what was the strategy, what was the verbiage, what was the communication, what were the potential takeaways on this deal. Let's hear from you.
I'll use some sports analogies. If you guys follow boxing, it's you got to make sure your opponent makes that mistake, and you got to capitalize. So I knew from the get-go, this listing agent, he was a floozy. Like, he wasn't answering calls. Once we got ratified, he was kind of lackadaisical. His biggest mistake, he fucked up. He told us we had an appraisal and we didn't. Christina did. Christina, she's a real star. I got the money and everything, and I got the guy, but she's the real star that balanced and checked everything out. But he made a flaw. He was weak in his communication, and then he lied to us, and he told us he had this appraisal, which then fell back on my buyer. So we had to buy that, thinking we already had it. He said he had this appraisal, and that was kind of my basis, because the house was for $490. But I said, hey, look, I don't know what type of competition you got, but my buyer wants this house. We're cool with 500, but you said it's only appraising in the 490s. So what I'm taking, you said 490s. So what I'm taking it at is it's 490. So I'm automatically going to want that $10,000 credit back as soon as we get in contract. So we have that verbal understanding. So he knew that off the bat. But then playing these games and not being communicative of having the appraisal, that's a big thing. So now my client had to buy that. So I knew I had an ace up my sleeve. But as we unfolded, things just kept getting, this was the deal from hell. The mom took out 30,000, the sister had $24,000 in debt, and me and Christina just kept working and working. So it came down to, hey, Otis, even if this stuff balances out and checks out with the zero after the sister, we got the sister finally to pay the $24,000 off. After we got that, we still needed the sister to show that she was an authorized user on the business account, because she didn't listen to Christina. She said to take the money from the account, put it in your personal account, give it to your sister. She paid it from the business account. So now we had to figure that out. But in me and her head, it's like, you, even with a regular account, you can't go into the bank and take out anyone's money. So you have to be authorized at the least bit. So we knew we had to work on that. The biggest issue is we had to go back and get $10 or $15,000 more. So I had the cancellation signed up. Valentina was done. I mean, like you can tell her, she was like, all right, like, yeah, I just want to be done with it. Like she even offered to pay me for my time for all the houses and everything that we've done. And then I paid out of my pocket $500 for the FHA repairs to get taken care of because I knew we were that solid in closing. But she was like, I'll pay you back the 500. I was like, Val, you my friend. Like, I'm gonna try to get the seller because they're gonna go through with this on the 500. That's just part of my job. I have to take that loss. I do not want to take anything back, but it's not over. I said, let me try to talk to him tomorrow. But we signed the cancellation, so I had to ace up my sleeve with the appraisal. I have the cancellation in my head, and I said, hey, yo, Conrad, I'm sorry to say this. You seen the email from me and Christina last night that we're gonna send this cancellation. But before I hand this over to you, could we at least talk about getting an additional 10,000? Because with that 10,000, I think we'll probably be anywhere between like 2 and maybe 5 at the highest left over. Let me worry about the 2 to 5. If it comes down to it, I will reduce my commission and take care of it to get us to the finish line. But if you can give me the 10K, I think I still can make this work. And he was like, wow, like, I don't know. Like, I don't think this is going to work. I said, look, we've been on 20 something days already. You guys fell off in contract and came back on. Now with this, all this equation with the appraisal and on honesty, I said, let's just try to see if we can make it work. Can you at least ask your seller? He said, all right, I'm gonna ask him. He called me back 10 minutes later, was like, they're not happy, but we just want to see this through, and you got to promise me that this closes. So basically, with that credit, it came to we're still 2,000 short. Christina, thank God, I love her so much. She already maxed her credits out as a lender and gave us all we could. So it came down to the $2,000. So I chopped the $2,000 for my friend and told her, hey, I'm not gonna let $2,000 stop you and your son from being homeowners. She has an autistic son, so she was really pushing to do this with her own single mother, like doing it on her own. So I wasn't gonna rob her this. So I gave her the $2,000 like it was nothing, and we closed on this thing.
Wow. Wow. There's, and, you know, shout out to you, shout out to Christina, but there's so much to unpack here. I think that as we all grow and the market that we're walking into, your guys' negotiation skills need to be on point, and negotiation skills are rooted in effective communication, asking the right questions, being able to ask questions like a litigator, knowing the end result that you want to get to. Well, how do you do that? Obviously, you can follow Chris Voss and dive into the book, Never Split the Difference. You guys can go and get the certification from the National Association of Realtors that makes you a negotiation expert because of the certification. And then you have to start practicing these things, having the tough conversations, framing conversations in different way. And that's what it's going to take. So if you guys are not deep into communication as well as in negotiation, those are types of books that all of us should be reading right now, because that's the era that we're going into. So Otis, I love how you've developed, right? You know, like you're always going to be my people. We come from a rough upbringing, but the way that you've been able to craft yourself and craft your business and become a great negotiator, man, it's been amazing to see. Let's go to Demian, then we'll go to Christina Montiel. Sorry about the confusion. Let's go to Demian, and then we'll continue this conversation. I don't know if it's challenges or contributions to the conversation at this point, but let's go.
Oh yeah. No, just tapping in on wins for the week. I had 3 interviews, which I saw you the other day when I was conducting a couple of them. But just really interesting again on the content creation journey. I got to interview the Miss Richmond, who's running for Miss California. I had no idea there was a Miss Richmond, but that was awesome. And again, having real estate conversations with people that you probably wouldn't typically assume were involved in real estate or have any connection to it, it just makes it even more of an important conversation to me, because it exceeds my expectations in terms of people in general. Like a lot of people are interested in what we do, and so it is necessary to keep the conversation going. I had another conversation with a business owner from downtown Oakland, owns multiple businesses, and now he wants to do a workshop at the office, and just a lot of good things came from those 3 interviews this week. So that was definitely a win. I got an offer accepted for a referral from one of my wife's coworkers that I spoke about on another call. Ended up getting her a really good deal. The unit was listed at at $399 originally. They upped the price to $425 to be transparent. I still ended up coming in 10,000 under that and asking for them to pay the majority of the closing costs. And so the agent called me back and she's like, so you're asking my seller to give this to your buyer for $405? And I'm like, no, I wrote it $415. She was like, well, you're asking for $10,000 in closing costs. I was like, oh, well, I guess if you look at it like that, yeah, I am. And old school agent, and she was even getting at me about not giving her 3 days to respond to the offer. And I was like, hey, I write offers a lot and I never give anybody over 24 hours. I was like, you're on the clock once I send this in. And that night she sent the response back, no counter of anything, and got my first time home buyer into a unit with saving her, what is that, $20,000, I guess. So yeah, that was the win.
And I'm gonna put you on the spot here for a second.
She don't FaceTime me, I'm old, but my wife said you should FaceTime her and let her know that she got her offer accepted.
So this is him, this is calling her on FaceTime, getting her offer accepted. And so I don't know if you knew, but your wife sent that to me. So we already congratulated you, in DMs, my man. So congratulations to you and to her. But I want to ask you a serious question. And there's a lot of people on here that have experienced struggles, will experience struggles, are in the midst of struggles, or on their way out of struggles. Like, if you look back at the year that you had last year versus where you're at right now, the momentum that you have right now, like, what shifted for you, my man? If you can bottle that up, like, what's changed for you? Because this is a different Demian than what I've seen I've seen you at a low point, bro. I'm just going to be real. I've seen you at a low point.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What changed, and how did you get to this point now?
Honestly, I mean, it sounds a little vague, or maybe even, I don't know, corny at times to keep saying it, but whatever is true is consistency and showing up. Like, I did give up on myself and my business because it didn't look like how I was used to it looking, in terms of getting all these online leads. And I'm good at converting those. I'm good at, when my phone rings, I go out and show the house and I talk to people, and I'm able to do business that way. And I got comfortable doing it that way and not necessarily building my business and listening to what I was being coached on. I wasn't showing up on socials. I was just relaxed in how I knew to do business, and I already knew it wasn't the right model because I had already gone through peaks and valleys of running my business that way. Last year, I did one deal the whole year, which is not sustainable for me at all. And I allowed myself to get busy with other shit that I do. But I can do all the things that I'm involved in at a high level. And I just made excuses last year, and I didn't show up, and I wasn't consistent in terms of my business. When things got rough, I gave up on myself and I gave up on my business. And you can't do it. That's not realistic in this game. But again, as I've said before, and I'll keep saying, showing up and being around like-minded individuals is really important to keep going, because being around you guys and listening to all the testimonies and all that, it makes no sense to give up. And you're always encouraged to keep going when you hear stories of success and stories of people's challenges. We go through a lot of the same shit, so it's necessary just to stay in these spaces.
Man, I absolutely love this, and I'm so happy for you. So you guys, in the first quarter, he was able to sell 4 homes. He has 1 in contract right now. So if he keeps this pace, he's on track to hit 16 deals this year, and coming off a really, really challenging year last year. Also, when we think about the diversification of his business, he's put 2 in a contract that were Zillow Flex, but 1 is a past client, another one's a past client, another one's a Sphere that was a referral from his wife. And so now he has a business that is not dependent on online leads. Now, it's nice to get those leads, it's nice to work those leads, but he has now created a diversification to where he never has to depend on that. And so, part of that is obviously him showing up, him being on social, him being visible, him raising his hand, him being humble. and him working till it works. So it's been really cool to see, Damien. Love your contributions. Thank you. Let's go over to Christina Montiel, then we'll go Hugo, then we'll go Blessing, then we'll come back to Otis if that was a new hand. If it's an old hand, please lower it. Christina Montiel. Challenges, wins, or contributions to the conversation. I don't know where we're at.
Good morning. Good morning. Just want to share that this week, I'm going to have 2 buyer consultations today, total 3 for this week. One of them is my gardener. He speaks Spanish, and I just been talking to him like, are you going to buy your house? And he's like, yeah, I need help with that. So I'm getting together with Vivian from the money store, which I'm so thankful for her because I finally found a lender that speaks Spanish and it can help my Spanish speaking. So I am very thankful for that. And I know yesterday I was freaking out. I set up an appointment with Elias. I'm like, I'm not doing it well. I'm falling through the cracks, but I came home and I had a Jesus moment. Let's just come back. Let's pull it down and count your blessings. So overall, I had a 10, since I started with the team, I had a 10 buyer consultation. They got through the lenders. Some of them are not ready right now. One is ready, but she wants to wait a little bit more to get more money. So overall, it is a positive thing. People are reaching out to me. I am having conversation more than I ever had in the last, 7 years that I've been licensed as an agent. So even though I haven't put an offer yet, but counting my blessings. And I just want to encourage everybody that is starting. I know, as Elias says, we put a lot of work there. We don't see the fruits yet, but we're going to see it soon. So I just want to encourage everybody on this Friday to keep going. Don't give up. The door is in front of us. We just have to keep pounding. So yes.
Yeah. Love to see you guys. So anytime you have a one-on-one coaching session with me, I'm going to always try to peel back the veil and see what's really, really going on. She had told me 2 times in the conversation that I feel like I'm falling through the cracks. And I said, before we go any further, I got to address that. When you say falling through the cracks, do you mean within the company or do you mean personally? I don't understand what you're saying. And she defined that. And I said, okay, let's unpack all of your activity, right? How many people are you in conversations with right now? How many open houses are you doing? How many people are you adding to your database? What's your sequence? What's your flow? What's your follow-up with all the people that are actively looking at homes in Real Scout? Do you have a newsletter? Okay, cool. All these things were she had a system and she had activity that was centered around all these things. So I said, you got to give yourself some grace. And then I said, you got to lean into this dance community that you're a part of. For the people that don't know, she teaches and she dances samba. Now, she can talk a little bit. Is it samba? Am I saying it right? All right. Let's just do a quick survey. If you on this call would come to an event that was rooted in you learning how to samba, having some fun, meeting some great people, also talking a little bit about real estate, is that event that you would show up to? Please give me an emoji on the screen if that's something that you would probably come to. All right, so here's your audience, Christina. People are already talking or already saying that they would come. I want you to know that you have a huge reach outside of this environment right here. Obviously, we'll be here. They'll be here to support you. But that's where you lean into. You already have this beautiful dance community. Host an event at one of the offices, cost you little to nothing. I'm sure there's lender partners that would love to sponsor or to co-brand with you. And then there you go. You launch yourself a dope event. You teach some people how to samba. You have some food. You have some networking. Talk a little bit about real estate, high five network, and then you close out the event. But I think that would hit. And obviously, you got some people that would definitely come to your event. So let's continue the conversation. Let's go Blessing. Let's go Hugo. Let's go Otis. Is that a new hand? All right, and then Brianna, I want to get to you as well. So let's go Blessing. Thoughts, contributions. Let's hear it.
Good morning. I'm on my walk and literally there's been no noise and now there's gardeners and everything right now. So hopefully everyone can hear me. Happy Friday. So I don't know if actually everyone knows, but my son plays basketball kind of tough right now where we are 7 days a week of basketball. And I happened to post something because his JV team needed extra players. I just threw it up there, not really thinking about, I posted to post. I didn't really think anyone was going to show up for the tryouts. From my post alone, 4 people showed up, which just was a confirmation of the reach that I have. And from this new basketball team, I was talking to our team mom and her partner. I ended up getting over to Ashley to try to see if he would qualify for the Dream for All when the portal opened. He let me know the other day that while he still has to wait, he still really appreciated the fact that he's been around agents, he's been around a lot of people that have come in and out of basketball, but no one had a conversation to the point where he took action. So it's just to Christina's point about having more conversations in a way that are still, they're true to me, they're heart centric, but it's really just like, what has prevented you from, moving forward? Is it, whatever it is? And that has led to, had a conversation with Bobby this week, had another conversation with another one of the moms. And then on Facebook, his coach from the other league tagged me in a Facebook post with someone looking for an agent. I finally was able to connect with that person on Wednesday, and he's not looking for just his first home, but he's in investor scout, so he's looking for off markets and different things like that. So yesterday I went and viewed one of the properties that we were interested in. He submitted that offer. I sent him one from that had come through my pipeline a couple of weeks ago. We submitted that offer out for yesterday too. And this is while Jessica and I are headed out to Stockton to go see our buyer/listing. So you never know where the leads are going to come from. And that's my huge win for this week, is that I basically wrote 3 offers this week and have, we're still moving forward on our listing, just all from basketball. And I think Elias had to drop. All right, I'll go ahead and send it over to you, Hugo. Share your wins and challenges.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I was able to get my first listing signed today in the morning. It was a social media lead. I got it from, he was a family friend. So he's been following me on social media for a while. And then I've been consistent with my posts and stuff. And he's seen that. And then we did like a buyer's consultation. And I didn't know he was a homeowner. And then he's like, hey, I want to move my kids to a better school, keep my kids in a better school district, but at the same time, go ahead and buy something bigger, because it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, but it's a total of 4 of them. So they're ready to get that upgrade. So I was able to get my first listing signed today in the morning with Ophelia. We went last week to his house, did the listing presentation, did the game plan, and yeah, we got it signed. So that's a listing and a buyer right there. All because of the consistency on social media.
Man, I missed that, you guys. My internet's down. I don't know what happened. My apologies. It is, I'm completely down. But I just heard listing and representing the buyer. Congrats to Blessing. So Hugo, tell us a little bit. I don't know if I missed it. If you missed it, just cut me off. How did you get this lead, Hugo?
Yeah, he hit me up. He DM'd me one morning, like 3 weeks ago. He was like, hey, Hugo. He's like, and it's funny because I'm a realtor, but he asked me, he's like, are you a realtor? And I was like, yeah, coach, I'm a realtor. He was my soccer coach, actually, when I was young. And he's like, okay. He's like, yeah, I'm planning on buying in American Canyon. And he was like, and then he's like, what do you think? And I was like, hey, the first key to go ahead and purchase is to go ahead and set a gameplay. And he's a coach. He still coaches. So I used his terminology, and I was like, we got to put a game plan into place. And I was like, what works for you today at 7 and tomorrow at 7? He's like, let's do it tomorrow. We met up, did the buyer's consultation, and that's where he revealed that he had a property that he owns that he wants to sell. And then I was like, all right. I was like, the next step is to connect him with the lender. And then meanwhile you're doing that, I'm going to create a game plan with my partner, Ophelia, to go ahead and see what we can do in terms of marketing the property, leverage that to buy the next one. And then the following week, we went with Ophelia, did the listing presentation. This was last week. And then we got it signed this morning, like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I love this. Well, congratulations. I love the partnership with you and Ophelia. Great job. If you can, drop some information about the property down below. I'm sure somebody on this call has a buyer or has somebody that may be looking in that area. Otis, was that another hand, my man? Go ahead. Let's hear your contribution, thoughts, insight.
Man, God is good, man. Happy Friday to everybody. My heart is really pure right now. I'm just on such a high from this deal with Christina and just everything that's going on right now. Because, You know, the injury took a lot out of me mentally. Like I was working and I was really busting my ass, like straight, like fresh stitches out of off surgery and everything. And I guess that mindset and all the work that I was putting in is starting to really come to fruition right now because I think I have like 6 contracts, probably 2 more by the end of the week out right now. I'm so thankful for the help of so many people on the team: Sierra, um, Erica, Randy, um, uh, Rakita. Like, I mean, people really just coming to the aid and putting in work, like not just the showing, like they really going out there, and it's good to see, like, you know, them asking, you know, me so many questions and just being thoughtful and coming to me and trusting in me, like, you know, with these partnerships. And I don't believe just giving $50 to, and this is not no knock to nobody on the team. I just don't believe in giving somebody $50. I don't think that they can learn from just going to open a door and practice putting something in MLS and locking a key. I think, you know, for the people that haven't still wrote a contract or even seen inspections report, they're only going to know if they actually go through it. So, you know, some of these haven't got to that point, and it's beautiful being able to come to the office and show them for a little bit, but being so busy, still having at least an hour to come through and try to show them how to write a contract, how to take your contingencies away, and kind of game plan little things. And they're out there. Sierra, she's fucking killing it from every access: open house, door knocking, cold calling. She, me and her have 2 deals out right now, and we have 1 in the position. So I mean, she can literally graduate just off of our partnership right now, and she has 1. I think she just probably signed her listing yesterday. I think last night we were talking. So she's on fire. Erica's like working with like 5 or 6 people right now. She got us a referral, and she really took reins to this and went out and called the agent out in Oregon and got the help and got things that she needed and got it done. And Rikita's moving with this one hot buyer, and she's going from house to house, talking to the builders, doing everything. So, I mean, it's like I'm there, but I'm not. So there's ways for you to be super busy and still producing, but you just got to give a little bit up. I don't really care about the money. I care about the partnerships and relationships. So at the end of the day, when I cool down, hopefully they can heat me back up, or they can slide me onto something, or let me do a little bit of grunt work. So, I mean, that's just how I run my business, because I'm just really literally all over the place. I still haven't knocked down really some solid systems, but I know once I do that, everything's still going to just go even better than what it is. But I'm trying to implement that right now with these partners, because it's starting to make me go back to do the basics and stuff that I just kind of ignored because I was just doing so much business, or enough business to keep me busy, and neglecting those things. And I can't afford to do that come July. So I'm trying to stop all the bad habits. So I only do positivity, and I mean, just the level of being able to be in 8 cities in one day, like all these people have been helping me to do, because I would have lost my mind. And I'm still not fully 100%, but I'm out there and I'm trying to match their energy. So I just want to say thank you. And I wanted to give you guys flowers today, because you guys are really working and helping me out. And I know we all gonna have a good summer. So that goes for anybody and that's on the call. If you guys want to work, just tap in. We can start working together, do things like this is how we network on our own team, not even out in the field. So I love everybody. Thank you guys for all the help.
Good stuff, Otis. I appreciate that. So you guys, let's do this. I want to talk to you about some simplicity in the way that we're all following up. I read something, or I heard something last week, and it said that simple scales and fancy fails. And when I heard that, it really rang true to me, because we always want to try all these things, and we want to, you know, answer all these emails, and everyone's always trying to get our attention or get us to buy into something or attend something. And I get all of that. At the end of the day, we have to keep our communication and our follow-up very, very simple. What I want to encourage everybody to do on this call is to write out what your exact follow-up cadence is for any type of leads that you put into your CRM and into Real Scout. Meaning that if Christina Montiel does an open house this weekend and she has 10 people that she puts into her Real Scout, into her follow-up box, what does that cadence look like for her over the next 7 days? And I want everyone on this call to be very, very clear. Like, if you had to rank yourself right now on a scale from 1 to 10, how well you do your follow-up, you should be really honest with yourself. And if you were below a 7, then you need to say, okay, there's some things that I need to put into place. First and foremost, every single person that you meet needs to be in your follow-up boss, and they need to be tagged in Real Scout. Now, once they're in Real Scout, you go in there and you set up those search parameters. Never allow the consumer to go in there and set up their own search parameters. Why? Because the consumer will not do it. Consumers get lazy. They don't know how to do it. We're here to remove friction, not to give them more work. And so put everybody in follow-up boss, tag them Real Scout. Once you have them in Real Scout, you go in there and you set up their search parameters. Now what you do is you go into your calendar and you set your calendar alert for every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This is your hot list, meaning anybody that has looked at a house in the last 24 hours and you haven't spoke with that person in the last 24 hours, you're calling, texting, emailing, and or videoing that person. And it is a very, very simple follow-up cadence. It is not this. Hey, Ricky, just wanted to follow up with you. We met on Saturday at the open house at 123 Main Street. Did you have any questions? No, that is not the way that we're following up with people. That is a kiss of death. The cadence is very, very simple. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you're looking at your Real Scout, and this is the cadence. Hey, Tom, I noticed that you just looked at 123 Main Street. 125 Main Street, 127 just hit the market. I'm setting up my tours for the next couple days. What day do you want to go and see these houses? Very, very simple. How do you do this in an email form? You take the address of a house that they just looked at on your Real Scout because you have all those analytics, and you put 123 Main Street, house on the hill, house on the cul-de-sac. Hey, Otis, I noticed that you just viewed this house last night. I'm setting up my tours for tomorrow. What time do you want to go see this house? Very, very simple. And if you don't want to use those analytics on your follow-up, then you do it a different way. Hey, Cynthia, I found this property on 125 Main Street. I think it fits perfect in your criteria, what you have been looking for. I'm setting up my tours for today and tomorrow. Let's go take a look. What time works best for you? Each of us need to have a follow-up system and game plan that is the next level. It is top level. It is top notch in order to be able to convert these people. Hey, I'm just calling to follow up with you, Sylvia. It's weak. It's weak. And the idea of I want to follow up with you should be removed from all of our vocabulary. That phrase in itself is not helping you. It's not serving you. It's not moving the consumer closer to purchasing a home. So what I want to encourage everybody to do is write out your own standard operating procedure for follow-up. My suggestion is that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you have a hot list. You put on your calendar from 9 to 10 o'clock, 9:30 to 10:30, whatever that looks like for you. This is my hot list client reach out, right? And I am diving into all of the analytics to see, okay, wow, Tom told me that they didn't want to buy a house until the summertime, but they just looked at 6 homes. I'm just going to reach out to Tom, right? And I'm going to send him a video, text message, email, and or a phone call, or I'm going to do all of those, right? And I'm going to keep it very, very focused on what they're actually doing, not shooting for opportunities in the dark. I'm calling based on their behavior. Jeff, I noticed this, or Jeff, I saw this and I thought of you, which is in direct alignment with their search criteria. So over the next 2 sessions, we're going to talk heavily about our follow-up game. If you guys have emails that you're sending out, a video that is hooked, if you have a game plan that has worked for you, I want us all to come here and I want us to share our blueprints on how we are following up. So over the weekend, over the next couple of days, if you're doing open houses, you guys are going to get leads. That very next follow-up is going to be super important because what's going to separate you from all the other open houses that they're going to. Right now, they're still going to multiple open houses and meeting multiple agents. But if you have a solid follow-up plan, if they're in Real Scout, if you're able to look at their analytics, their search criteria, and be able to focus your energy based on the consumer behaviors and patterns, I promise you guys, it's going to be a different story. It's going to be a different game plan. The way that you send your emails, what's in your emails, how you're following up is going to be refined and defined. So what I wanted you guys to do is I want you to write that out. Write out your standard operating procedure for your follow-up. Is there smart lists that you're using currently in follow-up bots that have really, really paid out for you, meaning that it's gotten you tons of traction, tons of engagement with consumers? Is there an email that always get you really, really good responses? Is there a text message that has gotten you really, really good responses? I want you to unpack that, analyze that. And if we don't have a follow-up plan and a system in place, then we create one. And then we walk away with, wow, now we got some really, really good ammo. So let's do that, you guys. I want to hear from a couple of you guys. I'm sorry about the internet challenges that I don't know what's going on, but I'll have to contact my internet provider. But let's go around the room. I want to hear from you guys. Let's get some kind of some takeaways and unpack this conversation. I'm going to go to Dorian. Dorian, you're relatively new to the team. I want to hear from you. What are some key takeaways, thoughts, and contribution from our conversation today? Let's hear from you first and foremost.
All right, good morning, everyone. For me, it was good for me to get on this call. I think, like you said, I'm just starting out. I'm just kind of learning the ropes. And I know like the first couple of weeks, it was kind of a lot onboarding and learning all the trainings and doing all the online courses. And just talking with everyone today, it helps me see that like this is a journey and you have to stay with it no matter what. You have a lot of people, and especially with this team, who are there to help you. You just have to also make the time to ask and make sure that you are reaching out whenever you need help or whenever you need guidance, because there are people who are willing to help you, who are dealing with the same things you are dealing with, and they can probably give you some advice on how to move forward.
Yeah, I love it, Dorian. Well, I appreciate that. And absolutely, man, it's showing up, being involved, asking questions, throwing your hand up, not being shy, really going after it. So let's go to a veteran who's been in this game for 15 plus years. Let's go to Chris. Chris, thoughts, contributions, insight from the conversation today. Let's hear from you, big dog.
Oh, I'm just over here just soaking in the energy and appreciating the leadership from Otis and everybody that's been talking, and like Hugo getting his first listing, and and Blessing leading the way. So I'm just thankful to be a part of this environment where an old guy like me could get that energy from young cats like all y'all. But just keep up the hard work, stay focused, and once you start making that money and then start making that, have that big quarter, you're just like, oh damn, I just made 50 grand the last couple of months. You start getting obsessive because you realize that the value you're giving out is coming back to you exponentially in abundance. And when you're doing business right and you're just doing stuff properly, not sacrificing your character or integrity, and it starts rolling, that's when you get consistency. So that's the reason why I love this environment, because we just got a lot of good people on here. Everybody's just sharing their knowledge. There's no gatekeeping, collaboration over competition. If anybody has any questions, DM me. I'm always free. Appreciate y'all.
Well, let's talk about this really quick, Chris, before you go. So Chris is right now, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pending right now. Total volume of 3.225, and that's just in the last couple of weeks.
I actually got 6.
6. Okay, I don't see the sixth one yet, but I'm sure it's coming soon. But you guys, that's just in the last couple of weeks. That's 3.2 million in the last couple of weeks. So grinding still has tons of momentum and consistency after all these years. Love seeing what you're doing, bro. Love it.
Fill up your calendar, guys, with activities that bring you income. Meetings, bar consultations, networking events, just getting out there, just supporting everybody, just get into business and be obsessive about real estate like it's your family, and do the right thing, and it'll all come together. Stay up, everybody. Salute.
Absolutely. You guys, you have to ask yourself, like, a lot of the times you're doing just a bunch of shit that's not serving you. Like, did you get closer to an appointment today? Did you make a call? Did you knock on the door? Did you make a video that got you some engagement that potentially will get you some leads? If not, then what are you actually doing? Are you just busy doing busy work just to make sure that you feel good about it? At the end of the day, you know what feels really good? Appointments. Appointments feel really, really good. Right now offers really, really good. Getting somebody in a neighborhood, you're like, oh my God, they're never going to want to talk to me, to say, you know what, we're actually thinking about selling our home and moving to Arizona. We're so glad that you knocked on the door. You guys, that's what happens because you're doing the income producing activities. So get out there and make things happen. I love that, Chris. Let's go Cynthia Jackson. Cynthia Jackson with the hair. If you ever need any help with your hair, she can help you as well. She's also here to obviously grow her real estate business. But Cynthia Jackson, let's hear from you. Key takeaways from our time together today.
Oh, key takeaways from what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
From our session today, key
Oh,
takeaways from
key
our group
takeaways.
today.
Oh my gosh, this was awesome. Uh, let's see. Well, it's a lot of information because, of course, I'm just finishing school, newly licensed, and just getting an idea about how all of this works. So what I learned today is that what's important is to be consistent, is to, be assertive and to be consistent. And go after what it is, whatever your goal is, whatever, and certainly goals that you set for yourself, but also team goals. So having a support system, as I see, that is just everywhere here, is majorly good, because it gives me, as a new agent who has not done one thing yet except for showing up at the meetings and whatnot, just kind of listening and hearing what it takes to just to get going. So I'm really excited about this.
Good.
It's people that are, probably as new as I am here on this call. Yeah, just looking at the whole thing, I'm just really excited. And I really think that
Well,
my next
well, good,
steps
Cynthia.
is follow up. Yeah, just follow up. Just do it. That's all. I'm here.
Good.
So just
I
do
love
it.
it.
Yeah.
That's right. And listen, getting yourself structured early on, that structure continues on when you're a 15 plus year veteran like Chris. Like, structure is never going away. Consistency is never going away. Discipline is never going away. So the principles that you learn early in your career will carry on long into your career, and then they'll grow and they'll expand, and you'll become different. You'll grow into new strengths. But at the end of the day, everything that we do is rooted in consistency and discipline. So I appreciate you being here. Let's go to Jacob Alley. Jacob Alley, give us one key takeaway from our time together today, and then we'll start to wrap sesh.
I would say the name of the game, just following up. I mean, a lot of people, they do open houses like me, but what's important is following up. That way you can, when they think real estate, they think of you, and you can be able to help them out.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we're unpacking the way that we're following up. Like, how are we following up? Are we just calling to say, hey, I'm following up with you, Jacob? Or am I actually giving them something of substance that moves them further down the sales funnel, right? I'm not calling to check in with you. I'm not checking in, and I'm not following up. I'm calling you because I have some information for you that will impact your journey as a buyer, and then we're going to move you closer down the bottom of the funnel. And here's what I got for you. If you don't have something for them, then you need to really audit your information. Be like, okay, what can I really, really provide for this person that's going to take them to the next level? What do they need to hear? What do they need to know about the market conditions, patterns, offers in the market, so on and so forth? So when I call them, I am that trusted advisor because I told them that I am. I'm calling them with some real great information that's going to help them move them down the funnel. So great stuff today, you guys. So remember this. Our consumer journey is something that we're going to start, obviously enhancing, making sure that you guys have a follow-up sequence in place, that you guys have a cadence, rhythm, best practices, and what you're doing to take your follow-up game to the next level. Remember that simple scales and fancy fails. Stop with all the shiny shit that's not serving your business and keep it very, very simple. One of my earliest mentors in this game said that the key to duplication is simplicity. We have a tendency to overcomplicate things. And when we overcomplicate things, we tend to overcomplicate things for our consumers. And then they're left with, oh my God, there's so much information. I have to try to understand that and unpack that all. Simplicity when you're explaining the buyer's consultation, when you're going through the listing presentation, when you're going through your follow-up. Keep everything very, very simple, and don't convolute it. Don't convolute it, because you just need to get down to what's important to them. And most of the time that is very, very simple. So you guys, I appreciate you. If you can, obviously I'm part of a coaching community outside of Keep It Moving, and it's called Play Bigger. That's my partnership with Raquel Quinnett. And I want to encourage everybody to go to playbiggerlive.com, playbiggerlive.com. Register, because we're hosting a dope event on Monday via Facebook. It's a live group. I have somebody from Real, somebody from EXP, somebody from Vibe, which is an independent brokerage, and somebody from KW. These are all top performers, top leaders throughout the country. They're going to share how they're enhancing their buyer's consultation and how they're introducing compensation in that conversation in the buyer's console. It's a session you don't want to miss. We'll obviously still do Keep It Moving on Monday. We'll talk about action. We'll talk about our goals and intention. And then right after that at 10 o'clock, we're going to have our Play Bigger panel. And so please feel free to join, spread the word about both sessions. So I'm looking forward to prepping, preparing, making sure that both of those sessions are fire on Monday. If you need anything from me at all, feel free to give me a call, text me, shoot me a Slack message. But as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and have yourself an amazing, amazing weekend. Peace.